Hi everyone, it's Marianne with a Sketch It Out Thursday process video for the Crafty Mavens Getaway group, and I am doing a sketch from Elle Studio. It's from January 2014, and I'm also sharing this sketch with Caddy Miranda. I hope you'll go and check out her video too. I also wanted to use the mood board, the Halloween mood board that Hannah Lemieux put together for us. Of the Crafty Mavens, and I really liked the green and the black on the mood board. So I pulled out all my Halloween papers, and I have a lot of scraps in there that I thought I might use on this layout, and I really was thinking, oh, I'm just going to stick with the green and the black. But the more I looked at the photo, and my daughter is dressed as Where's Waldo, I probably could have made the green work, but true to my style, I think I really just wanted to go for the red. And they didn't have to be red stripes, but it just felt like the right thing to do. So I was struggling with it a little bit. I figured, oh, maybe I'll just use all my scraps there, and then I ended up switching it out for some red papers because I just went looking through my stash. Let me just see some red papers and see how that would look, and then I ended up liking it better. So I go with that in a second here. I have very few Halloween pictures anymore just because my daughters are older, so they don't really do the whole trick-or-treating thing anymore. And that's okay. And I can go back and scrap older pictures if I felt like it. So here's where I decide I'm going to go with the red and the white and the black. And I had a stamp set from Close to My Heart. It's a few years old. And I'm going to stamp that witch. It's kind of, I don't want to say elegant, but like a fun kind of girly witch. So my original idea was I thought maybe I would stamp that and fussy cut her out and maybe just put that next to the girls to show that they were older. And I stamped it there, but I didn't stamp it very well, so I stamped it a little bit better this time. And then I just did a quick trim around just to get an idea of how big the stamp would be. Well, there, I'm just going to color in a little bit with my Copics just to see if I didn't want to waste that. So I just trim around it a little bit and lay it on the page, and almost immediately I decide that's not the look I'm going for at all. So I didn't edit it out of the video because, that's the process. Some things work and some things don't, and honestly it just took a minute of my time to see if I liked the stamped image, and maybe I'll use it on a card. So I was debating whether or not I would use a solid red background or stick with the white cardstock that I originally picked. And I'm going to go back and forth a little bit, but I settled on the plain white cardstock as my background. And then this piece of red and white pattern is an older one from Basic Gray. PB&J, I think, is the line. And it doesn't show up here in the video, but the ends kind of had a little bit of, it almost looks like distressed blue in it, so that's why I wanted to use the center of the page of the pattern paper so that no blue was in there. And I thought I might use that cut apart with the haunted house. It reminded me of the mood board, but it doesn't end up making it on the layout. This little other piece, this red and white chevron, I believe is also a scrap from the PB&J line. And so the sketch shows two fishtail banners coming out the end, and every time I see somebody else cut a fishtail banner, it always looks so easy, but for some reason I have such trouble making it nice and even. So first I freehanded it, and then I remembered I have these brand new dies that are really cool. So I didn't feel like getting out my Cuttlebug, and honestly it was just two little fishtail ends. So I took out the dies just to get an idea of what size I might need, and then I just traced it barely because really just the tops stick out there. So I'm going to use one of the red chevron PB&J, and then I had a little scrap of black text from Halloween paper. I'm not sure who makes it. It's a few years old. Probably, I want to say it's My Mind's Eye, but I could be wrong. So those are going to be my two fishtails, just like the sketch. and I'm going to use the basic gray pattern paper straight down the middle and my photo hanging off the edge. So that's pretty true to the sketch. And then I know the sketch behind the photo has a fairly large circle, so I know I'm going to use that element too. And here I'm deciding if I wanted to outline my red pattern paper somehow. So I had looked through all my Halloween paper that I had, put aside in a file, and I saw this black piece of paper in there, so I knew I had it. And when I decided I wanted to outline my red pattern paper, I just went back for that black piece to outline instead of using a black piece of cardstock, because honestly, that black pattern paper, I'm never going to use it. I was even surprised that it was in my Halloween pattern paper, I guess just because it was black. So once upon a time it made its way into the file. So I'm just going to pretend that it's like a piece of cardstock and use it and pat myself on the back because I used a piece of paper that otherwise I probably just would have gotten rid of somehow. So I decide I do want that circle element. So I found a pattern piece of paper. I want to say it's from Cartabella. I think it's from last year. I don't buy a lot of Halloween paper at all anymore because I really don't have the photos to scrap it. So I think I just got that one on clearance most likely. So I liked that little square, so I circle punched it, but the circle came up much smaller than I thought it was going to. So then right next to that one there was a little square that was black with bats, kind of spooky looking, so I cut that out, and I've decided I'm going to layer those two pieces to kind of stretch my circle element a little bit. So here I'm just going to glue everything down that I know I want already, because things are getting a little crazy on my work surface. So I know that I wanted outlined in black, so I did that, and I matted my photo in black. And now I've got the fishtails hanging out and just some layering. So instead of the green and the black from the mood board, I decided to go to this for the spooky aspect of the mood board and use some embellishments to fit that also. I had some witch's trim. It's like a little witch on a broom trim, and I want to say that probably came from a Jenny Bolin Halloween kit. I don't know how many years ago that was, but I got her special Halloween kit, and I, to this day, love everything that came in that kit, and I use it sparingly. So whatever I do make for Halloween, a little piece of that always ends up on the layout. So on this one, I just decided that I was going to use it as an accent across the bottom of my main piece of pattern paper there. And it was a little tricky trying to get it on there. It's not made of paper exactly, and it's not necessarily normal ribbon material. I'm not really sure what it's made of, but I had a little bit of a hard time kind of gluing it the way I wanted it on there. So I used some double stick tape on the back and a little bit of Scotch quick dry going across, even though it wasn't really sticking as well as I would have hoped. And unfortunately, I had put adhesive all over the back of that cardstock also, so I couldn't really lay it down to get it going, or else it would have glued itself to the paper. So now I'm going to assemble most of my page. And that red and white chevron, I felt like just needed a quick outline. So I did that, and even though it's not going to show up on the other fishtail, I outlined that one quickly also. And then I think I take out my ink and I just ink up some of the other edges. That black square and the round with the spider web on it, just because the cardstock from Cartabella is very thick, the pattern paper. And so the white edge really shows. So I just inked up the edges so that the white core wasn't necessarily showing through, and just layered them on there. I really liked the way that looked, and it was fairly true to the sketch. At this point, I wasn't necessarily, looking at the sketch anymore. I had the basic bones of the direction I wanted to go with. And that little scrap of paper was just sitting on my work surface, so I really liked just that little teeny tiny edge of the cobweb, and I just layered it under the picture, so that made it on there. Just a little scrap, put it under there. So here I'm just seeing, I'm going to go through my little Halloween embellishment stash and see if there's anything I want to use on this layout. Most of my embellishments are cream based, so this layout is looking pretty white, so I picked that Happy Halloween and that pumpkin, but they're so creamy that against the white it just doesn't look right. So I'm going to go in search of something else and see what I can find. And I believe this little package of embellishments, the one with those buttons in it, is from the Jenny Bolin kit from many moons ago. And I'm going to use that Poison chipboard button, and there was a smaller one. So it's red, so that one's going to go on there. And that's also cream based, but light. It's a light cream, so it blended right in. And then I have, from My Mind's Eye, some brads, which I love those brad packs. And I have a ton of them. And, you know, I seem to reach for my enamel dots all the time now, but that's also a good alternative. So I'm going to pick one off of the Halloween themed one. I'm going to get a 31. And I'm going to put that on top of the chipboard button. And then I'm just going to do some solids. So I picked 2 blacks. And then I knew I wanted some red. So I'm going to go in search of My Mind's Eye red brad pack, which I know I have. So I'm going to pull out 2 small red ones from that. And 1 bigger black one. And I think I pulled a black, it's like black and cream, but it's a chevron, so I figured that would look nice over there. And that's going to be it as far as dimension goes on the layout. And then I had, from Pink Paisley, these very old rub-ons. And it says Trick or Treat, but the or was in green, and there was no other green on this layout, so I'm just going to use some sticker letters in place of that. And then that's really it for my layout. So I'm just going to assemble the pieces here and there. And this was giving me such a hard time trying to get the 31 brad on there just the right way, and eventually I just took off the brad part and stuck a glue dot on there. You'll see it right there. It just came off. So I just glued it right on top of the button, and then I'm going to poke some holes and put the brads in. See, there's the red one. And then I'm going to do the same on the other side. So it's a little black, a little red, and then a bigger brad. So clusters of 3. And then I'm going to put the Trick or Treat rub-on underneath and do a little hand journaling. And that will complete my layout. So I'm hoping that you'll find some crafty time. Probably not this weekend if you've got little ones, because I'm going to guess that Saturday will be taken up with all the festivities of Halloween. But in the coming weeks, if you can carve out a little crafty time before the craziness of the holidays hit, or even next year when this time rolls around and you get your pictures printed. I thought I might layer another sticker under there. So there, I've got all my embellishments out there, and that's it. And there's going to be a still at the end, and there's my still picture. And thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate it. Happy Halloween.